You want to know how fast your world can flip? Try having nearly 70 years of family history tossed aside by a bunch of neighbors with clipboards who think applause equals authority. 3 weeks is all it took for a brand new self-declared HOA to announce in front of a bunch of clapping strangers that I was illegally occupying public land. No lawsuits, no hearings, just a crowd and a vote. Suddenly, I'm the outsider on my own dirt. You ever seen an HOA power trip this hard? Stick around, because what I did next, let's just say, to the ones pay me rent now, my name is Colton Harris. I'm 34, software engineer, by trade, property management systems of all things. So I know a bit about real estate law, maybe more than the average HOA president would guess. My grandfather left me this old lakefront cabin on Crystal Lake, northern Michigan. I spent the last 6 years making my own slice of heaven, waking up to water, lapping against the dock he built with his bare hands back in '62, drinking coffee while the mist rolls in boots, and Henley's that kind of quiet most folks only get on vacation. Life was good. Then comes Melinda, rural whirlwind in a yellow cardigan, flip-flops, flapping clipboard, clutched like she's about to knight somebody. She was only 29, barely president of this new Lakeshore HOA for half a year. But she hit my porch like the IRS, flanked by Dennis and Vivian Cole, her little entourage. She skips the hello and gets right to business. Mr. Harris, she says, I'm here to inform you of several violations. Docks unauthorized liability risk ruins the landscaping standards. I just stared. This dock's older than any house on the block, but she's already moving on citing community standards with all the charm of a parking ticket dentist, trying hard to look important. And Vivian, who just radiates drama, stand behind her nodding like this is gospel. Melinda hands me a violation notice, $350. Fine, 21 days to tear down my dock or escalated enforcement. I ask her what these standards even are. Point out that my family's owned this spot for generations. She doesn't budge rules or rules, she says. And people like you think you're above them. Yeah, that happens. She marches off, Dennis and Vivian trailing behind. That moment, something inside me just snapped. This wasn't about a dock. It was about control. And Melinda had just declared war on the wrong guy. I know my rights. So I start digging, looking for anything my grandfather left that might help. The next day, I try to handle it like an adult. Walk over to the HOA office. It's a cluttered garage behind the Coles house, and try for a reasonable conversation. Melinda Cardigan, now sporting a fresh coffee stain, just gives me the same speech. This isn't negotiation. Mr. Harris rules are rules, I realize, and this is personal. She's not protecting property values. She's settling old scores in her head. Just when I'm about to give up, an older gentleman walks in. Walter Briggs, former HOA president, calm as a pond. He introduces himself, says he knew my grandfather, then turns to Melinda. There are things about this property you might not know. Melinda brushes him off. She's in charge now. But Walter gives me a nudge. Check the county records. Go through your grandfather's papers. You might be surprised. I take his advice. That night, I'm knee-deep in old boxes, letters, and then an ancient cassette tape marked property agreement 1972. I find an old tape player, pop it in, and there's my grandfather's voice. Steady as ever. This is Robert Harris. I allowed families to build on my land after the war, handshake agreements only. But the deed never left the Harris name. It stays with the family. Always. He'd even kept the original documentation stashed in a safe deposit box. It hit me. Every house in this development is technically on my family's land. All the HOA's power plays their fines, their rules built on borrowed generosity, not ownership. Melinda was running her little thief on property she didn't even own. Things got crazier. 2 days later, a fake city inspector rolls up. No badge, no city vehicle, just a hard hat and a cheap polo. Claims he's here to inspect my dock. Tanya Schmidt, a single mom and one of Melinda's other targets, happens by, pulls out her phone and starts recording. The guy panics and bolts. Turns out Dennis hired him for $50. Vivian eventually confessed everything after Dennis started bragging about it. Now I've got proof, to tape, county records, even a witness to the fake inspection. I head to the county office, just lay everything out. The clerk nearly drops her coffee. Mr. Harris, according to these records, you own the land under every house in this community. She pulls out dusty survey maps. Turns out Melinda's been threatening to evict the actual landlord. Word spreads. Melinda calls an emergency HOA meeting. All dramatics. She's trying to scare everyone with talk of community safety and proposes jacking up HOA fees to $1,200 a month to cover legal costs. Folks nearly riot. Tanya stands up, voices cracking. If you raise the fees, I'll lose my house. People are shouting, foes are out. And someone finally asks Dennis point blank about the fake inspector. He bolts out the back door, leaving Melinda Exposed, I finally get my turn, stand up at the county documents, lay it all out. The Harris family never sold this land. All you bought were the houses and easement, writes the actual land title. Never change. Melinda tries to shout me down, but Tanya and the Halfos and others have copies of the paperwork. People are furious, not just at Melinda, but at the whole sham. Next day, I build a 6 feet fence around the community parking lot. Turns out that's Harris land to Melinda. Shows up screaming about public access. I just tell her, you're welcome to call the police, but I suggest you find a real lawyer this time. Phones are everywhere, neighbors recording every second, and I post laminated maps on the HOA bulletin board, showing everyone exactly where the Harris land runs. Under almost every house Melinda loses, it tears the maps down, claims they're fake. But someone's live streaming her meltdown. Vivian Giltrin hands me a flash drive, emails, fake invoices, proof Melinda's been using HOA funds for personal stuff, inventing violations for anyone who questions her. By now, the community's had enough. At the next meeting, Walter, stepping up as interim president, calls for a vote to remove Melinda. Unanimous. She tries to plead her case, but nobody's by at the new board with me as landowner. Offers everyone a proper affordable lease, $200 a month. No one gets evicted, and all the fake fees are refunded. No more power trips, no more nonsense. 3 days later, Melinda's moving truck pulls away. Dennis is gone, and for the first time in months, the lake shore feels peaceful again. Tanya comes by, hugs me. She says she finally feels safe in her own home. Walter shakes my hand. Your grandfather protected people. Colton, you just made sure that still means something. And me, I'm back on the dock, coffee in hand, grateful that sometimes the best way to fight power is to know the law better than the bully. You know what I mean? So here's the thing: when authority gets built on arrogance and lies, eventually the truth wins out. But what do you think? Did I do the right thing making them pay for the land they've been using all along? Should there be mercy, or is justice best served cold? Let's hear it. Drop your thoughts below. Where do you draw the line between neighborly kindness and standing up for what's yours?